So a very common request I had from people that I asked about how to improve their email experience is they wanted to spend less time in their inbox doing repetitive tasks. Let's be honest. Email is very simple. We read it, we mark it as read, we reply, we forward, we delete it, we file it, or we mark it to follow up with it later. I mean, it's text on a screen. It's a newsletter. It's a note from your mom. It's inter-office communication. It's relatively simple, the things you can do, and we do them again and again and again throughout the day. So how can we do them faster, more effectively? Well, the first is navigation and creation. The first step to decreasing time is to use keystrokes instead of your mouse. So I like my mouse. I use it a lot, but frankly, when I'm in my inbox, I don't have to use it that much. So the key is to use keystrokes. So instead of your mouse. So the first thing you want to do is go to settings, and then over here you go to settings, and then you're going to go to keyboard shortcuts, make sure they're on, which is keyboard shortcuts, make sure that they are on. And in addition, you want to go over to labs and look for keyboard shortcuts, custom keyboard shortcuts, and make sure those are on as well. And if they're on, then you'll have this new tab, which is keyboard shortcuts. You can customize them there. So again, make sure keyboard shortcuts are on by default, and then also make sure you go to labs and turn on the custom keyboard shortcuts, enable it, and then save those changes. That allows you to create custom keyboard shortcuts, and I'm going to show you the ones that I have created. So the first is when you have a message and you are viewing it, you can hit S as in Sam, and you can see this changes right here. And as I click on and off, if I keep clicking S, it'll cycle through. Now, how do I choose the order of those? It's very simple. Go to settings again, and you can see right down here, here's the order of my stars. So let's just go, I'm going to change them to green, yellow, and then red stars. This is how simple this is. So take and drag it like that. All right. Go to the bottom, hit Save Changes. Go to my inbox. I'm going to choose this, and then watch up here as I hit S, green, yellow, red star, no star. Go back to my inbox, and that's how you can rotate those. And I have my inbox set so that any starred messages of any kind, not just green checks or whatever, will go into this upper part. We'll get to that later. The second shortcut I use often is C for compose. So again, I just open up my inbox, I hit C for compose, and I can compose a message that way. The other is D, the letter D for compose and open the CC field. So I'm going to hit D and see I've got this CC field open right here if I want to CC someone else. The other is the letter B as in boy, and now we'll open up the CC and BCC fields. If I have a message I want to archive and say, okay, I've read it, that's good, I can hit the letter Y, and it will then archive that message, which is great. If I want to delete a message, I just hover over it, open it, and then hit the letter E to delete. Some other shortcuts are the letter G, which I think of as go, okay, the letter G plus another letter. So the first one is, let's just open up this one real quick. If I hit G and then I, I'm going to go to the inbox, GI, and it goes to the inbox, right? And then if I want to search by label, I can go GL, and you can see right there, it already popped up that label search, and then I can start typing in the name of a label, right? That's GL. Another is go to all mail. So if I go GA, then that's all of my mail. And then one last one is go to your contacts. You can go GC. I'm not going to open those up because I don't want you to see my contacts, but G and then the letter C. And last one, sorry, is if you hit the /, you see my mouse just went up here. Okay. So again, I'm just on the page and hit that. The reason that's important is that's where I might want to search. Right? And that's where I can search up there. Okay. And that's just hitting the /. Now, the other is another step you can do to simplify your navigation is have default transitions. So we're going to go back over here to our settings and then labs, and we're going to do a search. You can do Control F or Command F because there's a lot of these, and you're going to look for auto, just the word auto, advanced right here. And what this does is after you take an action on an email, it will auto advance to the next conversation instead of going back to your inbox. Or it will go to the newer or the older, or it will go back to the thread list. You can play with that to see which one you prefer, but auto advance is one that saves a lot of time. Another is background send, which I have right below that one. So it lets you send your Gmail while you move on to other things. And make sure, as it says here, make sure you stay logged in. So I can send a message and it will send it in the background. I don't have to wait for it to send the message to go to the next message. So again, that's auto advance and then background send. The other tip I'm going to give you to increase or spend less time, I should say, in your inbox is, and this might sound really simplistic, but if you're brief and you explain why, other people will be brief with you. Now, there's a pretty cool sort of movement out there, and what's funny is I've seen other people use this, but it's called 3 sentences, and you can see it's 3.sentence.es. But what's funny about it is there's 3 sentence. I think there's 2 sentence. There might be 2 sentence. Yeah, and there's also 4 sentence and 5 sentence. I don't think there's a 6 sentence. But the whole point is that you want to simplify your email. And you can put a link as to why it is short. But that's just a reminder that the more brief you are with people, the more brief they will be with you. And it just starts to train you, which is really cool, to be more brief in your email correspondence. And again, find that URL and maybe put it in your signature. The lesson there is brevity creates brevity. One-word answers are okay. All right, I had a guy that sent me this scathing email, like 1,000 words about what an idiot I was for doing this or that. And you know what my response to him was? Thanks. That's all. Just thanks. Because I didn't want to have the conversation. Use the subject line to write your email. This is a pretty fun one. I mean, if you have something to say, well, why not use the subject line and then just use the message area and leave it blank? Another one is you can actually use the subject line to write your email, and then in the message area, write no reply necessary. Okay, that's a great way to simplify communication and spend less time. One other is when you're going back and forth, when you don't need them to confirm something, or you're just saying, okay, sometimes it can be like, okay, thanks. Okay, great. Talk to you then. Wonderful. Looking forward to it, blah, blah, blah. You wasted 3 emails. If you are okay with not hearing back from that person, just hit no reply necessary. All right, and add that to your email. No reply necessary. People will usually respect that and not write you back, which is great. Now, this is called canned responses. And so I'm in the old Compose experience for Gmail. I'm going to show you the new one as well, real quick, after I show you the old one. So if I create a message, and this is a canned response, again, how to create a save time in your inbox. A lot of times we're sending the same messages. So let's say I'm looking forward to our interview. For more instructions, go to takepermission.com/instructions, which isn't a page, but it is now. All right, so I can do that, and then I can make it a link. Make it a link. There we go. Okay. And then I've got my signature. So what I can do with canned responses is I'm going to use that a lot. I'm going to do canned responses. I'm going to click on new canned response. All right. And I'm going to give it a name called instructions. And now I'm going to go back to my inbox. When I go to compose a message, I can go canned responses and then instructions. Oops, sorry. I did the wrong one. Go to canned response. That's the save. I want to insert instructions right there. And there it is right there. Now the problem is I saved my signature last time, so I shouldn't save it. This is what's great. I can go over this. I'm going to save this canned response again. I'm going to save it as instructions. And it says, oh, you want to overwrite it? Yes. Okay, let's go back to the inbox. Because I have my signature by default pops up right there, and I want 2 signatures. So if I'm going to send a message to someone again and again and again, go to this canned response, insert instructions right there. So that's how you can cut down on a lot of your communication. You can create canned responses. One other quick one is mark as read. If you've got a lot of messages, you just want to make sure they're marked as read. Then you can click several of them And by enabling a lab, which I showed you how to do already in general settings, and then the labs tab, you can look for a lab called mark as read. And so you can click on several messages and it'll give you a mark as read button right here, mark as read. And that will allow you to show the message as read even if you haven't read it yet. Another great way to simplify your email correspondence is to have different signatures for different email addresses. So if you go to settings, and then on this general tab, you go down here to signatures. For different emails, you can have different signatures. So the reason this is going to save you time is you don't have to type a different signature no matter which email you're using. So Andy@takepermission.com is one. Let me use this, andytraub@gmail.com. Blessings, Andy. All right. So there's my signature for that one. I'll give it an extra space. And that's my signature for that, andytraub@gmail.com. Now check this out. So I'm going to go to compose a message. All right. And I'm going to go to andy@takepermission.com. Right there is the email address I'm using right now. If I switch to andytraub@gmail.com, it switches my signature. Isn't that great? So it will save you time because it will automatically insert a different signature. And again, that's settings, general, and then signatures. That will not work on your iDevice, but unless you're using the Google, I think if you use the Google app or Gmail app, it may, but I don't believe so. So again, as you're using your interface here, you can, the desktop experience or browser experience, then you can insert a canned response. You can also use those different signatures for different emails. So I'm going to show you the new compose experience real quick, just to show you where those are at. So I'm going to compose a message, and it's going to pop up. Okay, I got it. It's going to pop up here. I'm just going to show you the let's go here. All right, so I'm going to send it. This is where I can switch the email. I'm going to send it from a different email right there. Okay, so there's a different from field. And then down here is where you get your canned responses. Canned responses. All right, and you can pull this up as well. You can break it out so it's a little easier to work with. Canned responses. All right. So that is the new compose window, which will allow you to navigate those options there as well. The last thing I'm going to say to decrease or save your amount of time in your inbox is to consider getting a program called Text Expander. So if you go to takepermission.com/text expander, there'll be a link to that program. I think it's like $40, but it just saves you a tremendous amount of time in your inbox doing repetitive tasks. For instance, if someone wants to subscribe to my newsletter, I always write them back a message, and I do that by hitting SSUB, and I say, thanks for subscribing to the newsletters, Mike. I appreciate you, so-and-so and so-and-so. Have a great Wednesday morning. Enter. And I just entered all that text using Text Expander. All right, and it gives me those little spots I can add unique words like morning and then their first name. All right, so it saves me a ton of time. So that's Text Expander. And that is how you can spend less time in your inbox doing repetitive tasks. Now go save some time.